Hello, everybody, and welcome to our broadcast here on SplatoonTourney. We are getting ready for a Div 4 semifinal between OU Crimson versus UF Storm Styles, University of Oklahoma versus University of Florida. My name is Falco Flyer, your commentators here. Saf and Toma, how are you both doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Falco, I'm so excited to be here tonight. We got two great matchups coming up. And Saf, I know you've had a long day. You've come off of commentating Low Ink, and now you're here tonight. How are you doing?
You know, I'm feeling pretty good. I love me some competitive Splatoon in the morning, and I love me some competitive Splatoon in the evening. And I love that I get to be here with both of you. As always, tonight with OU Crimson and UF Storm Cells as well, opening up on a Flounder Heights game, it seems. So a spicy game to be opening up on here for semifinals in this Division 4 CCA tournament here.
You're absolutely right, Saf, and you know, we don't really have too much to go on as far as what we may see out of these comps. They're going to be a little bit wild cards to us on what these players play, but you know, Flounder Heights always ever in favor of those shorter range options. You've got great options as well too in you know, buckets like Tri Nouveau or rollers that can kind of peek and poke over in these corners and these edges of this map. Can lead to a lot of interesting gameplay. We'll actually be seeing right now what these teams are going to be bringing to the table. Saf, we see a roller and a slosher and a brush right there, you know, just saying exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, wow, the only shooter to be had on the side of OU Crimson is the C Junior there by Clux. But then you take a peek over at UF Storm Cell side, you have the Explosion and another bucket as well. There's a lot of buckets in this game right now, Toma. I mean, just starting off on this Clam Blitz game, it's all buckets from here. And the Clam economy is in favor of OU Crimson right now.
It sure is. That they're going to be going down early with that Clam, though, as the Splat Dualies on the flank catches them off guard, leaving just that roller there who they're able to catch out. And now they've got a Power Clam ready to go down this ramp, but the Octobrush there in the ink, ready to pick them off. There's a beacon back there, Saf, giving them a great opportunity to get back in there, turn what could have been a really bad situation into a nice pick there, stopping OU Crimson's push.
Yeah, and they had a 3-down situation as well off of UF Storm Cells, but they just didn't have the clams ready to go to try to make a successful push, unfortunately. So a little bit of a missed opportunity there. But OU Crimson having 3 specials online right now. Zipcaster has been launched, and now the Kraken is coming in from Tanner here, looking to see if they can get this jump and also put pressure upon this jumper and this other person. Oh my gosh, it all just happened so quickly. Already 2 people on UF Storm Cells going down, and now the C Junior also having special ready to go. I mean, there's still so much time left in this game. It's just neutral at this point. Both teams are trying to look for their opportunity, Toma, but it has not presented itself yet.
Absolutely. Right now, this Stamper trying to see what they can get, but picked off the wall there by the C Junior. OU Crimson now too gonna be bullying that crab tank off the ledge. The roller doing a great job there, but there's just so much paint and flying around all different ways here in mid. There's so many different flank options, Saf. It gives these teams really a lot of options to figure out how to approach, but it looks like finally Storm Cells starting to find a little bit of their footing. And the commentators curse as soon as I say that. They're gonna go 2 down, but they're charging in to this side of OU Crimson. Nonetheless, the Tri-Slosher trying to get a pick there, but goes down to the Octobrush. They do have a Power Clam here on the side of OU Crimson, but it's all the way over at their own basket. OU Crimson really needs to clear this space in mid to get that Power Clam moving, but UF Storm Cells not going to make that easy for them. You can see that they're already taking a 2-down on to OU Crimson. That's a 3-down now, and these dualies kind of moving forward, trying to see if they can get to pick on the last person. The Tri-Slosher battle happening there on that ledge, but they've got to be careful. This is where they were caught off guard last time by that flank from the beacon. Nitro getting an amazing double pick there, and this is definitely going to be their opportunity. They need to get the Power Clam together. Their Stamper right now going to be able to make one, trying to figure out a safe way to poke around this ledge. Just the roller up. That is going to be the first break of the basket, and that is going to be a full wipe onto OU Crimson.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there's been multiple soft wipes on both sides at this point, and we're now down to almost 1:30 left in the game at this moment. Storm Cell's still holding this basket open, and This Way's coming out at this moment, trying to maybe get a few more clams, but OU Crimson now on the respawn, able to get back up, and now Tanner popping this Kraken right here and being able to clear the space in mid, just saying, hey, you know what? You guys are a little bit too close for comfort. We're going to go ahead and try to get you pushed back and pushed away from this basket right now. But Storm Cell's having another power clam in their possession, looking to see if they can make another push here, and they might be able to now with two members of OU Crimson going down and on respawn. That Inkstorm is going to come out with a little bit of poking damage now. Ambrosia able to break in on that left side here. Once again, Storm Cell's making a pop for the basket. Now with only one member available on OU Crimson and the wipeout occurring once again, that penalty is now gone, and you can see Storm Cells is going to make a runaway with this one, and they're going to try to get as many clams in that basket as they possibly can, Doma.
They sure can, and Nitro still continuing to apply pressure, even though they backed up some, thanks to those really helpful fizzy bombs on the Tri-Slosher Nouveau. Gonna add 2 more clams to that basket, able to extend the lead just a little bit more, able to hold on still. Stuff, and they're going to be able to have a jump in and see if they can get a few more clams in there, but they can't, and that basket is going to go back up. But Saf, a push to 8 with 11 seconds remaining. OU Crimson may have 2 power clams right now, but they have to get this map control, and they're going to have to find a lot more than just those 2 powers.
Yeah, absolutely. Overtime now being initiated. You have the Explo on the side of Storm Cells respawning, and you also have the dualies going down. At this moment, Crimson needs to try to break their way back into mid. They need to get some map control here, and Lestro is going to take this opportunity to break that basket open. Shadow has another power clam in their possession, and it is in the basket with a few more to follow up. We're down to the 58 mark with that timer being about halfway there. Clutch throwing in a few more clams down to the 48. There are clams in possession of the members of Crimson that are trying to push forward. 33 now, still extending this overtime for us right now, but both members now going down. There's a lot of purple in front of that basket. It looks like Storm Cells is going to be the ones to take this first game, Toma.
Oh my goodness, Saf, everything they did there at the end on the side of OU Crimson, exactly what they needed to do, but just a little bit too much of a deficit to come back from, and that's just how the game is. Sometimes you have to have that clam economy, and if you can't get the basket broken multiple times throughout the game, if you can't push a lead early on, sometimes this is just the situation you find yourself in. You can see here after that basket broken, they continue to be able to feed this lead. The Brush going in there, getting a few more points. And you see that they were just able to apply great pressure there, trying to get another pick. But at this point, going down and feeding in to try to get those clams, which is what you kind of have to do in that overtime situation. You're forced to be like, hey, we can't let that basket go up. But at the same time, there it is. You run out of people, you run out of players, and there's just nobody left to be putting clams in.
And one thing, too, I want to point out with Storm Cells, I mean, they did this so beautifully. When you have the basket open and you need to try to delay it from closing, you just keep getting just a couple more in there, just extending that basket being open just a little bit longer. And they were able to do that when that push went down to the 8 mark. They just kept throwing it in, and just giving themselves a little bit more time. Their members were a little bit staggered, coming back into the map, looking for picks while they were on their way onto that basket and giving them a single point lead, which definitely helped them out there. But you're absolutely right, Toma. Crimson was on their way to that single point lead as well. I mean, they dropped at least 30. Going into painting hazard. Whoops. Anyways, OU Crimson to put up a really good fight there, but Storm Cells being able to take the first game, coming out really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you had to add there about, those clams just to keep the basket open. Saf, we've seen many a clam blitz game together, and the way that you have those incredible 0 to 100 pushes, you can't hold 100 clams at one time. Those pushes happen because you break open the basket and you have like 3 of your players dunk what they have. You have somebody else hold on to it or hold on to their clams, and you put them in little by little as your other teammates go to get clams. We're going to see a little bit of that live looking going on now. You see on Splatoon Tourney 1, we've got DU Soulblaze versus Reef Unleashed right now. Reef Unleashed with that little bit of an early lead. Cool little inkjet action coming out. They're getting a nice double pick there. Actually, that's going to give them a lot of control, but they are going to be taken out of that inkjet. Saf, I know you love those inkjet plays.
Oh, I love that Inkjet is now making its way back into this meta right now, Toma. I mean, it is such a strong special these days, and I'm just here for it. I'm here to see it. But if you look over on the left side, you have Painting Hazard and Farmingdale Rams right now, with Farmingdale Rams being ahead by 1 game. But getting a 3-person down situation now here in this Mako Zones game at this moment. Farmingdale is going to go ahead and curt themselves onto this board right now and taking a small lead to be had here. But it looks like it's still going well, and we still see on the right side there that this game is still in the middle for Soulblaze and for Reef Unleashed.
Absolutely. You know, and speaking of Mako Zones, that's going to be the next mode we're going to. And, you know, much like Flounder Heights, I think it's a mode that lends itself a little bit to those non-shooter weapon choices. I think that these buckets that we saw come out and work so well in Flounder Heights will find a lot of use here. That crack-on roller for sure can definitely do a lot as well here on Mako Mart. You can play around these stacks, around the walls, especially in lockout, to try to prevent your opponents from coming back in. And those non-shooter options like the sloshers just apply so much more pressure at ledge than a shooter will.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are still going to see a similar composition coming out from each team. You have the T-Tech now with Tri-Strikes coming out for the side of UF Storm Cells at this moment. But we still see that Lestro still has that brush, and Emperor is actually going to be bringing out the E-Leader for this one, for this Zones match. Definitely an interesting pick, I want to say, but also being able to use that Wave Breaker in a defensive position and also just trying to get some tracking going. There's a lot of different vertical platforms here. I mean, that you have the stacks and you have the different platforms that are back towards spawn as well. So the Wave Breaker could be a really good choice here. But as we're seeing now, the early wipeout happening already on OU Crimson right now. UF Storm Cells has Zone in possession at this moment, and they are going to be taking the lead here as well, kind of like we saw when we did that live look in there on that last game. An early lead to be taken, but now with Storm Cells taking this lead, we have the Tri-Strikes coming out from Crimson, and Crimson being able to flip the zone. Oh, and they do flip the zone actually with 2 down on the side of Storm Cells at this moment, but they do have that crab special online. 1 member being spawning back into this midsection right now, and no penalty being had on OU Crimson. So OU Crimson is once again going to try to flip this lead here, Toma.
Absolutely. It looks like it's probably going to be the lead change here, and it is for the side of OU Crimson, but Storm Cells not ready to give up. They're here. They've got control of this zone once again, and they'll quickly be eating through that relatively small pity. OU Crimson on the offense, trying to get back into this zone, sharking this wall on the stack. Being able to pick off that bucket going to be huge for them here, and it's going to come just in time to be able to stop that change from happening right now. OU Crimson still able to maintain this lead, but Storm Cells once again saying, hey, yeah, you picked us off right before that penalty timer ran out, but we're gonna run it out once again, even smaller this time. But again, OU Crimson doing a great job getting in. That is going to be the full wipe of just Storm Cells. And now this is going to be a great opportunity. You see that brush zipping into the base, stopping them from coming out, actually getting a pick as well. And this E-Leader now set up on a brilliant position to be able to watch the entry points of Storm Cells there, and they're definitely going to be able to extend their lead there. But that Explo and all these other weapons putting so much pressure on the zone. OU Crimson is able to find the splats though and stop it from flipping. You saw how pink that zone got, Sap, for just a second, but OU Crimson just flipping it in the blink of an eye. You've got all the members now of Storm Cells over here on this stack trying to break back in. This crowd putting in the absolute most work, getting a pick onto there, and that's gonna be finally, OU Crimson's lockout stopped, and it's going to be UF Storm Cell's ticket back into this game.
Yeah, and we still have 2 minutes left to go, Toma. Anything can happen, but as it stands right now, Storm Cells has eliminated their penalty, but as I say that, it is back on the board now at plus 19. OU Crimson taking this zone back once again. There's a battle for that right stack there, with Nitro getting a really good pick with that bucket and flipping the zone at the same time. Tacticooler is now out for Storm Cells. A lot of refreshing comments being able to come up here, so we got that quick jump and that quick respawn happening for the side of Storm Cells. Nitro once again getting another pick on the brush. The brush trying to do a good flank. That is 2 down now on the side of OU Crimson. OU Crimson trying to get back in to this map right now. You can see Emperor is trying to post up to give themselves some jump ins here, but finally OU Crimson taking this zone back once again. I mean, both teams are just fighting the gauntlet here to try to keep this zone in possession, but there is still so much ground to be made up by Storm Cells here, and this could be their opportunity to do it. Having 3 members of Crimson down right now, you see Nitro throwing down some ink to try to get that coverage, and once again, the zone is taken by Storm Cells, and Crimson is looking to try to get back in on this map.
And a great pick there from that Tri-Slosher onto the brush of OU Crimson again, too. That brush has been vital in making a lot of breaks into this game. The Tri-Strikes are going to come out as the brush is respawning here, and that's, you saw a quick 2 down on the UFC Stars, and there goes the brush once again, getting the trade, but definitely a big ticket towards trying to get back into this zone. The Dualies trying to go forward and capitalize off those strikes, but it isn't going to be enough. UF Storm Cells charging forward there, trying to get the 1 point that they need. Will the strikes do enough? They won't come out in time. That is going to be the lead change stuff over to UF Storm Cells with just 10 seconds remaining left in this game. OU Crimson now needs to regain control and hold it through overtime to be able to get back in. And right now, 2 down on both sides. This is a scary situation. The Dualies get the pick on to the Slosher. And right now, Sam, look at this Dualie battle going off. The Dualies of OU Crimson fall, but this timer it's ticking down. It's about to be through it, and the lead change back to OU Crimson. Oh my God, Saf, I'm going absolutely crazy right now.
Oh my gosh, OU Crimson, so strong coming back to try to take that lead. They lost it by just 1 point, Toma. I mean, I really hope that our replay is of those Tri-Strikes coming out in that moment, because the Tri-Strikes, I think, is really what saved them there, because even though they lost the lead by that 1 point, they were still able to capitalize on most of that zone. Here we go in this replay right here. You can see they take the zone back, and they're just ticking down this penalty right now. There was the Dualies up on that right stack. They're trying to apply some pressure. Astra coming back in, throwing in those expo shots down, but Lestra was able to get up on that plat there on the stack and just take out the pick when they needed to. Just like, oh my gosh, there's so much happening all at once and just a 1 point lead.
Oh my goodness, I was like there. I was like, oh my God, like literally, like you said, everything in that moment going on at the same time. I'm like, I can't talk that fast. Like everything is happening. This is the moment, and they brought it together. Right now, though, we can see a little bit of a look in CCA Splatoon. It looks like Farmingdale Rams and Painting Hazard able to be tied up right now, 1-1 as Farmingdale Rams clears this first checkpoint here in Museum Tower Control. They're going to be bolting towards this second checkpoint if they can, but it looks like Painting Hazard doing a great job there trying to hold them off, not going to let them get too much of an early lead.
Yeah, and the Tri-Strikes coming out too to provide a little bit of coverage. Painting Hazard was able to bounce back from that pretty quickly. Now being on that first checkpoint, ticking it down just a few more points there to try to get themselves the lead. Oh, but Chris trying to crawl up there, trying to get them that lead. I think it was just to their detriment with that suction bomb, but now we can see that tower is moving back once again in favor of Farmingdale Rams. They're pushing it as far as they can go, but you see that C- there was able to take down their tower rider and actually get on there with the vacuum as well. Jasmine trying to get them off of there and going into a trade scenario at that moment. And especially too with this killer whale being able to come out, you can displace the members that are standing on the plat. Now Farmingdale Rams able to extend their lead just a little bit more.
Absolutely, but you know, Museum Tower, this second checkpoint, it can get I want to say it's the easiest thing in the world to clear, but you do see it fall a lot of games. But after the second checkpoint, this is where that real push is made. If you can't stop the tower here, it gets really do or die at that third checkpoint there. But Farmingdale Rams, you know, doing a great job keeping up that pressure in that game. But we'll be getting ready for that same exact map mode here, Museum, Tower Control. We definitely, I'm sure, are going to probably see the return of that leader that we saw coming out. Museum is infamously the E-leader map, able to just kind of get these very clean, clear sight lines and just have a really, really threatening presence. And while still, you know, I think that Sloshers do great over the ledges here as well, it's definitely a map where we will see more shooters than we have been, Saf.
Absolutely. And Toma, one thing I do want to point out about these two teams that we're watching right now, OU Crimson went 5-0 in their groups. They are undefeated currently with their sets right now. And you have Storm Cells coming in here with a 4-1 at this moment. And especially with you have Storm Cells winning that first game, I was kind of thinking to myself, I was like, what's going on with OU Crimson? But then them being able to really bring the action into this second zones game and just fight to the death to try to get that zone back and taking it and now tying us up in a 1v1 situation. I mean, it's going to be exciting going into this third game, I think, especially from what we've seen so far. I mean, both teams coming out of that zones game are very strong, and they are definitely hungry to be in this competition right now.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like OU Crimson looked like a completely different team from game 1 to game 2. And we've seen now both of these teams really hold dominant positions and basically bring to the table what got them to playoffs, what got them here to this semifinals week. And it's that incredible gameplay, it's that aggression, it's that team coordination that you see them have together here, Saf. And you know, in a mode like TC, that's very, very important going in here. You've got to know where the objective is. You've got to get in front of it. You've got to protect your tower rider, which means you need to know where everybody is. And it can be dangerous on a map like this. If you're, say, on that second checkpoint, right? You've got to watch mid too, because what if somebody drops from the right-hand flank? What if somebody just goes straight off of plat and then comes around and gets your tower from behind? It's going to take a lot of awareness and coordination from these teams to get this tower to that goal. As we come out here, as I said, we do see that E-leader coming out, you know, like I said, leader map of all time, but you know, not the shooters that I thought there would be. We do see a T-Tech with that great tri-strike that you can use to clear off the tower, but it seems like these teams really like to be sticking with their buckets, blasters, you know, dualies, all these great non-shooter options that they're bringing to the table. As right now, it looks like you have Storm Cells set to take a little bit early mid control and start trying to push this tower.
Yeah, and as you say that, we are on our way to checkpoint number 1, Toma. I mean, Storm Cells now, their tower rider Nitro being taken out, though, as soon as they were able to get that tower there and losing control of it now. Astra getting a good assist there happening on the side off of Ice Dew right now, but I mean, the mid control is still in favor of Storm Cells right now. You can see that Lester was trying to get in there once again to try to maybe clear a little bit of space for themselves and try to get the members of Storm Cells out. And now 2 members of Storm Cells being downed. Ice Dew running in here and taking out Nitro as soon as that Booyah Bomb's over, but still going in with the trade from the Booyah Bomb with 2 specials ready and online for the side of Crimson. You have that bubble being popped at this moment for the side of OU Crimson. OU Crimson now still having jumps coming in, and Emperor getting really comfortable on this middle spittle here with their E-leader as well, to be able to get their other teammates to jump into them at this moment and taking that tower, tying us up with this tower. It's 85-85 right now, Toma. I mean, my goodness, in competitive Splatoon, in all of my days of competitive Splatoon and watching it, I have seen so many ties happening in the middle of these games just today.
Absolutely, that happens from time to time. But Storm Cells, they're not going to let this be a tie, as they're going to be clearing this first checkpoint finally. And that's a full wipe also on to OU Crimson. They really need to be able to utilize this stage to move forward as the members of OU Crimson are on the respawn here. The second checkpoint is also going to fall here pretty uncontested while they were waiting for the respawn. This brush going down in that booyah while trying to get a pick, but now they're already at checkpoint 3. It looks like that is probably where their push is going to end as we see the full wipe. But Saf, 18, a very scary place for the tower to have pushed to if you're OU Crimson, but we saw what happened that last game, Saf. They're definitely not out of this yet.
Oh, absolutely not. We are still in it to win it right now, Toma. OU Crimson now having that tower in their possession, but we are in a 2 versus 2 scenario with one member on each side on the respawn trying to get back into this map. Wavebreaker is out for OU Crimson at this moment, trying to look for that tracking, and jumps coming in. Emperor and Lester trying to get onto that middle platform to try to prevent the jumps from going down, but 2 members down now on the side of Storm Cells. You can see Kirby throwing out those tri-strikes and also standing within this bubble thrown out by Les here. Going into the second checkpoint. Second checkpoint on this map, Toma, is so crucial, especially because you are on the opposing team's platform. There's so many places to jump up to and get the high ground and to hide and to take them out. But as I say that, now Storm Cells are actually wiped out by OU Crimson. OU Crimson now has this opportunity to try to push this tower as far as they can, and can they do it? We are going to find out in this moment.
Yep, they're going to be trying to push it. They've got the bubble out, Saf. This could be the deal breaker, and that's going to be the lead change. Just the bullies online and Saf. I think this is going to cruise right into a KO.
Oh, they had it set up there, Toma. I mean, as soon as the wipeout happened, it was smooth sailing from there. They had the tower positioned on that second checkpoint. You could tell Storm Cells was coming out of their spawn. They were ready to go, ready to fight, and Crimson just knew exactly where they were at the right times to get that wipeout, to time that wipeout perfectly. They got so comfortable on that tower, and with Les being able to launch that bubble as soon as they could, as soon as it was online and ready to go, they were able to just ride it to victory. As you can see, they're going to break this second checkpoint right here. You have Kirby and Les posted up on that tower, and you have Ice2 kind of watching the front with that Wavebreaker also clearing the space around there. The bubble gets popped. Kirby and Les both hanging out on this tower, able to take the checkpoint together. Not either of them getting taken down by being protected by that bubble and just riding it into the victory. Man, oh man, Toma, OU Crimson. OU Crimson is here. They are here to fight and they are here to play, but Storm Cells is doing their best to not let it happen.
Absolutely. I mean, they pushed all the way to 18 in that game. That is a really impressive push. But like I said, we weren't counting out OU Crimson there, and they were certainly able to get that back. On the CCA channel right now, Farmingdale Rams have been able to extend their lead in this set a little bit further, now at a 3-1 situation on Inkblot Art Academy Clam Blitz here. We can see that they've already had an early pop. They have mid control. They have the clam economy mostly in their favor right now, as their last member is going to be respawning in. But you see all those special stuff online for the side of Painting Hazard. It can get really dangerous really fast here.
Yeah, we have, what is that? Booyah Bomb, we have a bubble, and we also have the Zip Caster as well. If the Luna Blaster is able to zip into that platform and take any members out that are trying to play defensively, I mean, that can be open season for the junior and for the sloshing machine to get in there and also launch that bubble below that basket and or use the Booyah Bomb to clear that basket right now. But it looks like they're kind of just waiting for their opportunity at this moment. I mean, they're kind of holding on to their specials, but both of them getting taken down before specials can be used. 3 down now on the side of Painting Hazard, and Farmingdale Rams is going to take full advantage of that soft wipe there, and especially having another Booyah Bomb in their possession as well.
Absolutely. You saw that brush just kind of rush it straight up there, get that basket broken, able to extend their lead a little bit more in this set, as they're going to be fighting it back out again as they do. But that's not all we have for you. DU Soulblaze versus Reef Unleashed loading into their Rainmaker's Gorge game. Reef Unleashed up 3-0 in this set. DU Soulblaze hoping to make their entrance and to get their first win in this set. And Saf, Do you see what I see here? I know you're thinking it. I see this tri-stringer that I love to see in action on the side of DU Soul Blaze. Unfortunately, though, just them up for their team as Reef Unleashed going to be charging towards this first checkpoint.
Yeah, relatively uncontested as well. They were able to just take that and run with it as fast as they could. Unfortunately, taking out all of the more aggressors on DU Soulblaze, just leaving the bow by themselves, which can be kind of an unfortunate situation to be in, especially with them not being able to have Killer Whale ready and available to try to push them away from that checkpoint area as well. But, I mean, for us, we're also going into Scorch Gorge Rainmaker right now. And Toma, I mean, from what we've been seeing thus far from both of these teams, I have a feeling that maybe if Emperor is feeling comfortable that they are going to bring that E-Leader back out. I'm not sure with the aggression that we've been seeing from both sides what we're going to want to run here. I mean, especially with Les pulling out that Octobrush and being really successful at getting the flanks launched off as well, if they're going to keep going with that or if we're going to see them switch over to that blaster once again.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing them loading out here. A much more aggressive comp on the side of OU Crimson. Both of them, well, I guess you still have the X-Splasher coming out on the side of UF Storm Cells, but OU Crimson going to be dropping their backline to run a much more kind of faster in-your-face comp, which I think can definitely lend itself well in a mode like Rainmaker, Scorch Gorge. We've seen this mode, you know, multiple times today, both and Falco on Low Ink today, and we can see that, you know, if these team here, if they can break this checkpoint here, now if they just get this pop, if they can run forward, this score can go up so fast, and it can be really hard to come back from. That's exactly what we're going to see. We're going to see Ambrosia running forward as fast as they can, pushing that to 38. You saw members of their team clearing that space in front of them as best as they could, which is exactly what you want to see in that situation. And for 45 seconds in, 38, not a bad score to be at.
Yeah, and you know, OU Crimson has the more aggressive comp, arguably, but the popping power that Storm Cells has, I mean, they took it and they ran with it, Toma. I mean, getting it all the way down to the 38, taking that first checkpoint uncontested, and just going as far as they can. But now OU Crimson is going to try to make that response of their own similarly, but with 3 members going down, that Rainmaker being stopped right at the 82 mark, and still that Splash is able to retreat successfully before any members of Storm Cells are able to find them at this moment. But we see that Estrella has the Rainmaker now in their possession, and they are boosted as well from the Tacticooler. But OU Crimson, the amount of paint output that they have, with especially with these 2 shooters here, and that Zipcaster coming in to try to take the flank successfully on the Rainmaker there, stopping them in mid. I think OU Crimson just kind of needed a second to find their footing with this shorter range, because definitely the range is on the side of Storm Cells.
Absolutely. The Dually's getting a great pick there onto the Crack-On Roller as its Kraken is coming to an end. And now the battle happening in mid, the Splash and the Brush, both in a good position here. That Brush going to be zip casting and seeing what kind of mayhem it can cause. We've seen great zip cast play after zip cast play. It looks like it's maybe able to pick up the Tri-Slosher on the back end. The shot, or T-Shed going down now, as well as this is going to be a good opportunity for them to potentially clear this first checkpoint, but they need to move that X-Flow. They're able to find the pick there, and you know, that's one thing that I think has been making a difference for them here, is that X-Splasher is really good at denying space Saf, and it's really stopping their forward momentum. But now with that pop and the Brush getting that Zipcaster, they took out the X-Flow, which is arguably the primary threat. But getting caught in all of this ink and these bombs coming out, they're not going to quite be able to push it as far as they want to, Saf. But this Brush certainly making some nice hero plays for them.
Yeah, that Zipcaster coming out from Les, I was just thinking to myself, do they know? Do they know? And once Les was able to take out one, they knew. But as we can see right now, the wipeout has occurred now on the side of OU Crimson. This is Storm Cell's opportunity to keep running this Rainmaker forward and keep their lead, maybe extend it as well. A good pick by the Rainmaker user right there, taking one member out kind of behind that pole area. Now 2 members down on the side of OU Crimson. Both Splash players are now down, and you can see Tanner was trying to jump in there to see if they could maybe prevent the pop a little bit more, but Nitro able to go in and get the pick and almost prevent the other Splash player, and they are successful in taking them down. But 3 members down on the side of Storm Cells and 3 members down on the side of Crimson as well. But the Rainmaker is in a good position for Storm Cells to try to pick it back up, but getting the triple once again on the side of US Storm Cells, taking them down, and OU Crimson having Rainmaker in possession. Wowee, Toma. I mean, they need to be watching out for less. That is their threat that is coming out from Storm Cells right now.
Absolutely, and you know, Storm Cells right now with the lead and as much time is left in this game, that's kind of how they needed to play it at that moment. You don't want to play too passively and leave that Rainmaker close to your side of the base. They continue to play, you know, if they got extension of their lead, cool, but if not, they drop the Rainmaker in the enemy base and it takes even longer for it to move forward, and that's exactly what you need to do when you're ahead in this situation. But now they're approaching that kind of little bit of a dangerous situation. OU Crimson is starting to approach them. The Kraken coming from behind, but the Rainmaker does fall, and all these jumps in gonna be watched. That's the full white happening, and Saf with just 10 seconds left, unless they can run across this map and get the fastest splat of their life. I think this is going to be game here, going to Storm Cells, and this is going to wrap the setup 2-2, making it an even game. Saf, these teams determined to take it to a game 9, it seems.
I'm just laughing, Toma, because I blinked and suddenly there was a Kraken in the spawn.
So did I didn't know where it came from. I was like, oh, there's a Kraken there, and then the rest of the team was dead. So, you know, Kraken did what it could, but oh my god, it was a little bit of a jump scare.
Once again, proving that Kraken can be so crucial on Rainmaker here. Look at that, right in our replay there. You could just see them coming into view. Oh my goodness. Tenor could just coming into view there in the spawn of Storm Cells, taking them down, and then the trade happening here with Les as well. But I mean, Storm Cells really was able to lock in their early lead and take it all the way to the 5 minutes and just hold on to that Rainmaker as tightly as possible. Both of these teams, Toma, I mean, my goodness, like it's like we're tit for tatting here right now. I mean, we see one getting what we see one win, and then OU Crimson winning twice in a row. But then Storm Cells, once again, I think once they are able to have a map mode that really fits what they are trying to do, they are able to just take it and run with it. And now we're going into another Clan Blitz game right now. So can Storm Cells win it out once again on Clan Blitz Inkblot Art Academy? I mean, we're gonna see.
They definitely have a good opportunity here. We're going to be seeing this game playing out actually right now, as it looks like Reef Unleashed gearing up here. This could be their game point. They're 33 remaining, able to clear off the rest of that penalty. DU Soulblaze yet to score. They're going to be able to continue to push that basket open just a little bit longer as they clear space with that Booyah Bomb, but it looks like they may not have the clams here yet to extend that lead, but in a good position there. They only need to win that game to take their set. Also in match point right now, Farmingdale Rams versus Painting Hazard, and it looks like right now that this tower is cruising up so smoothly for them, Saf.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Painting Hazard being in a 3-down situation, but now Farmingdale being down in a 3-down situation at this moment currently, Toma. I mean, there's still so much time in their game at this moment for Painting Hazard to still remain in this game, and I mean, Farmingdale, I think, needs to be looking out for that, because if they're able to stop them at that point, and like when they're just trying to push that tower as quickly as possible, I mean, they got to be careful, especially if they're able to take a couple of games off of them. But man, I'm looking forward to this Inkblot Clan Blitz game right now, Toma, especially because if we see Emperor coming back into this map too, especially using their E-leader as well, they seem to be a fan favorite in the chat from what I've been seeing. So I'm curious to see if that E-leader is going to rear its head here as well. But also, I just love seeing this brush gameplay that we've been getting from Les on OU Crimson. I mean, the aggression that they've been bringing and the flanking power that they have. They've been catching different members of Storm Cells in unfortunate situations, and so I'm curious to see what they are going to try to bring to the table here. Oh, but actually, I'm going to eat my words right now. Emperor moving on from the E-leader and actually going to be bringing out the Splatana Wiper.
Absolutely great pick too. I think this weapon has excellent mobility, especially in a mode like Clan Blitz. and it has that amazing paint output, these torpedoes to kind of poke and ship, and Ultra Stamp now actually somewhat of a functioning special as where it wasn't before, so it can provide a lot of picks here. Right now, Storm Cells holding a lot of paint here in mid. They do have a member of OU Crimson down, and they're going to be popping this early crab, and a little bit of a different Clam Blitz game than we saw before. If you'll recall, we saw, I believe it was, no, actually that's exactly right. Storm Cells was in the lead on the first Clams game, but they're gonna wipe out OU Crimson right now. Once again, showing their dominant Clam Blitz abilities. They're gonna be loading back into this map. You saw that they went a lot of members down south, but they're already respawned. They're already holding ground here again. The Explo getting an excellent pick there as well. They're not going to be giving up this mid space yet, and OU Crimson is going to have to search for a way to get back in. They've got that crab tank online that they could potentially use to try to move some members, and they had that stamp come out that they tried to use as well, but the wiper was just picked during that.
Yeah, and I was feeling it there for Astrio a little bit. I felt a little worried for them, especially because that stamp was coming from out of view for them on that flank. But right now, Storm Cells once again is going to get this basket popped down to the 46 mark. Ambrosia and Nitro working together on this opposing platform to try to displace the members of OU Crimson. But Crimson able to come back in pretty strong onto this platform right now, being able to take the members out. But Ambrosia is still there. They are still there, and they are still fighting. And the members of Storm Cells are able to respawn and bring another power clam to the table, to the forefront here. Emperor trying to look for the pick on B, but unable to find it, and is taken down mid-stamp. But the clam economy, Toma, oh my goodness, Storm Cells has maintained their clam economy throughout this entire match. And they are doing just an excellent job of providing themselves a lot of space and aggression to break into this platform.
Oh my gosh, stop. And this is the exact kind of gameplay we saw on Clam Blitz earlier in this set. Storm Cells know so well how to hold mid, how to find these clams and make sure they have that clam economy in their favor. OU Crimson actually finding a way to break into mid right now, but you can see those bombs and that paint coming out to try to contest it. They're going to be popping a crab tank up on top, of the tri-strikes are going to force it to move. The crab is going to go down, not before getting a pick onto B3 there. Two members of Storm Cells left up, so they're gonna be forced to kind of back up. And as this Kraken comes in, this may be the opportunity, but you see Nitro here sharking, waiting to pick up the members. They're able to get one power clam in, but Nitro stops the second. Ice Dew picks it up actually, but it looks like B3 getting the last splat onto them, stopping that push from being even more soft. The defenses, the sharks, the picks from Storm Cells that keep coming out are just so clutch right now.
Yeah, and I gotta hand it to Nitro, though, being so patient with the sharking. It always impresses me so much, Toma, how patient different Slayers can be with their sharking tactics, because you really just need to know when to strike at the right time. And I think with Nitro allowing that first ball to kind of go in there, they were able to follow up on the second one and not allow the second one to get the break, which OU Crimson only was able to get one power clam in there, which allowed Storm Cells to have a pity clam in their possession. And since they have been doing so well with having the clam economy on their side, I mean, the defense that they have been bringing to this game has been immense. But now you have Emperor being able to win the fight, and once again throwing another clam in there. The penalty for OU Crimson is now gone. Ice Dew there trying to fight in a 2v1 scenario. Not quite ideal, but they were close enough to have a few clams to try to throw in there. But the defense, once again, from Storm Cells has been so strong, Toma. And with 30 seconds left into this game, Storm Cells knows that OU Crimson needs to come to them if they want to try to win this fight.
Absolutely, Safi, but this, unlike our Flounder Heights game, is not, a deficit that is unable to be come back from. This could be easily done here as the Kraken comes in, but the jump goes straight into those tri-strikes, Saf, and now just the wiper up. The wipeout comes, and that Saf I don't think is going to give enough time for OU Crimson to get back across this match, and I don't believe they have their pity up either, so that is going to be GG's right there.
Yeah, Storm Cells, man. Clam Blitz is their game, Toma. They've made it clear in Flounder Heights. They're making it clear in Inkblot Art Academy. They know how to utilize these maps. They know where they need to be. They know what they need to do in order to keep the economy in their favor. And I mean, they know where these clam spawns are. They know exactly where they need to be to keep their economy up, and they've been doing it this entire time. I mean, constantly their clam economy was so high, and you can see here in this replay right now, you have the Tacticooler posted up there with 3 members down on the side of Crimson, and the wipeout happening right there. 2 power clams in possession of Storm Cells in this moment. I mean, strong economy there, and especially too with other members picking up a few clams here and there as they are trying to move back into the map, and the one power clam that OU Crimson had in those final moments just being destroyed, unfortunately. I mean, wow, it's always so impressive to me to watch teams that know what they need to do on Clam Blitz, because it is such a hard mode to really fully grasp. And even if you have comms, a lot of times it just moves so quickly and you need to be able to know where you gotta be.
Absolutely, definitely the mode in the game that requires the most coordination. Right now we can see on our live look-ins, Farmingdale Rams versus Painting Hazard and DU Soul Blaze, both of their sets have officially ended, with Farmingdale Rams winning 5-2 and Reef Unleashed going 5-0, but it looks like they're going to be choosing to do the Gentleman's Play all 9 for their streams as they go on this Rainmaker game, and right now on that Splat Zones game as well.
And we're looking at Brinewater Springs Splat Zones moving on, Toba, right now. And OU Crimson were the victors in the last Splat Zones game. So I'm curious now if this, once again, is Emperor going to be bringing out this E-Leader. This is the perfect opportunity to have E-Leader onto this map mode combo, Toma. I mean, I'm curious to know what's going to happen, but what are you trying to see here, especially with Storm Cells needs to try to get this win to take it to match point, but OU Crimson having a really strong presence in Splat Zones as we've seen earlier. So is there anything that you're trying to see come from these teams?
You know, definitely the return of the leader would be great here. Brinewater is one of those stages that the E-Leader can just easily look across and apply a lot of pressure onto the map. It's going to always be a great pick to bring out here, and that Explo that we keep seeing come back out time and time again, I also think is really nice. It applies so much pressure onto zone, and you know, it gets a lot of paint, and that's exactly what you need in the zones game, right? Brinewater Springs has a pretty small zone. The paint from that Explo, just 2 sloshes can do a long way towards neutralizing or even capping the zone, and they've got that Inkstorm to follow up on it with Saf, which is just so wonderful. The machine or other bucket options to kind of poke up at those 2 backlines from underneath the ledges, I think are nice additions to a team comp as well. You've got that Octobrush, which can kind of serve the same purpose. The Try coming out, Try Nouveau once again can also do that same purpose to slosh up, displace. There's that leader, there's that Explo, and we're going to be seeing the Splatana Stamper come out as well, going down early to that E-Leader.
Yeah, and I really got to give a shout out to Astria here, because Astria has not let up on their Explo usage. They have been using Explo throughout this entire competition, Toma, and I just love to see that, because it's very rare that you see somebody that could be an Explo one trick, or just someone that consistently uses Explo across all modes. And as it stands right now, I mean, they've been applying so much pressure and giving their teammates so much space to move around, and Storm Cells now quickly going to be able to recap the zone for themselves. No penalty on their hands right now, but as I say that, the wipeout happens on the side of Storm Cells. Unfortunately, now OU Crimson is going to be able to take control of the zone, and Emperor once again feeling very comfortable to be able to stand in this zone.
You know, and it's a great place for the leader to post up. It can reach so far into the enemy base, as you're able to see there. They just need to get their members up into that ramp. Right now, the Stamper gonna go in there, try to get the Zipcast onto the leader, but taken down. That's going to be a huge pick for OU Crimson, being able to maintain their hold of mid. You've got this soda coming out now, though, as Storm Cells get ready to go in and try to take this zone. They're able to pick off that junior, able to take down 3. Just the brush up, but the brush finds the picked, and that is Storm Cells coming back in. They're able to finally pick off that brush, able to get the full wipe, and now they have no penalty to eat through. They're able to immediately start scoring, Saf, and here come these sharks that we were talking about before. So patient here, waiting for the right moment, and there goes the brush, dropping down, able to get the pick there. Ambrosia now moving up with the rest of their team, but still OU Crimson in mid. You've got those members of Storm Cells pushed up. You need to figure out what to do, and right now Crimson just doing a great job holding there before finally going down. They were able to kind of stop Storm Cells from running away with that, add some penalty on to their timer, and just kind of delay that match from going further right now.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, I was a little bit worried there for Ambrosia. They were pushed up so far with those dualies, and especially because that zone flipped into OU Crimson's favor once again. But I mean, they were able to watch that brush player twice and take them out. And once again, OU Crimson is in a 3-down situation now with the soft wipe. No penalty right now on the side of Storm Cells. Storm Cells is going to flip this lead right now, Toma. And I mean, having their members pushed up into their spawn, once again wiping out the members of OU Crimson. They were exactly where they needed to be at this moment. I was a little concerned with them getting their penalty back up again, with OU Crimson being able to break down to the side and get back into mid, but Storm Cells did not let that affect them once again. Now Storm Cells taking the lead here off of OU Crimson, and we are into match point, Toma.
Absolutely, Saf. This is, wow, just crazy games going on here. Storm Cells, you know, the kind of losing the lead early. OU Crimson had that really scary lockout, but Storm Cells being able to bring it back from the brink there. An absolutely brilliant game, and you know, that feels good after how close that last zones game was. Able to take the win here. Ambrosia doing a great job turning around here, focusing on the zone. They know that's all they need to do at this moment. The wipeout coming out there, absolutely key in securing this win. As you see the members of OU Crimson spawning back in with just that, like, 10 counts left. They're gonna try to drop down, but they get picked off. It's just not, there's not enough time left on that timer to get back to that zone, Saf.
Yeah, and I think too, Toma, once they were able to really get the wipeout and successfully lock the members of OU Crimson out, I think Crimson was a little bit panicked there. They were staggered. They were trying to get back into this map, trying to maybe throw some subs out there to not only take the zone out of possession, but also just clearing that ramp space for themselves to get back down. But Storm Cells was not letting them have any of it. They were holding so strong, not only on that ramp, but making their presence known in that zone as well, throwing so much paint down and just holding it tight. And man, Storm Cells, it's got to feel good getting a 3 wins in a row right now, Toma, and taking us into match point into this tower control game that we're going to next in Game 7.
Absolutely, but we saw the tower control game happen last time. UF Storm Cells took an early lead there on Museum, but OU Crimson came back with all the fury in the world and pushed it all the way to a knockout. And that this on Hagglefish Market, once you break past that second checkpoint, oh man, Saf, things get really scary after that point. And if OU Crimson can kind of just brute force their way into that like they were able to in Museum, we can see a really strong game potentially come out from them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it right now, Toma, and I'm especially looking forward to see if on OU Crimson, if Les, our Octobrush user, is going to be bringing out that blaster once again, because that bubble combo that they were able to do with Kirby made it so successful for them to take the lead off of Storm Cells back in that Museum game. And I wonder if they are able to repeat it here, because also, like, the flanking power that Blaster can have on this map is so strong, and there's so many different high points as well that the Blaster can really get a lot of poking damage onto anybody that's trying to post up on the canopy or on that left elbow side there as well in front of second checkpoint. I mean, there's a lot of different avenues that a Blaster can take here, and I'm wondering if OU Crimson is going to bring that back to the table here. I think it could be super helpful for them, but also I think too having Emperor on that E-leader once again as well, because there is so many different points for them to get posted up, and especially because with that tower has to stay stationary and you got to take it. I mean, it is a field day for Chargers to be able to get picks.
Oh, it absolutely is. You know, as an E-leader can just stand up there, really watch those flanks and really shut down the tower, especially as it moves away from that first checkpoint and gets a little bit closer to the tent as it starts to approach the second. That's a really great spot for the E-leader to set up its defense, to snipe people off that tower and stop it from going further. But we'll be seeing what they're bringing to the table here. Now, OU Crimson loading in. They're going to be opting no backline here in sight from them. They're going to bring out two new weapons, I believe, completely. And the Tetras. Have we seen the vanilla roller? Actually, I don't think we have seen the vanilla roller. It was a vanilla range blaster last time, or vanilla blaster, whichever one has the bubble sap. My memory is so foggy. But we're also seeing the 96 and the Tetras come out, which is going to be really, really great on this map. I think the Kraken is really good on tower as an option as well.
And I love that we're seeing Tenor opting out for the Kraken and using the bubble instead. And we actually have the 96 being the one as the Kraken user here. Right away, you're going to see a B3 trying to zip cast to that tower, but unfortunately going down. Tenor holding this tower down all the way to checkpoint 1. Now finally getting taken down by Ambrosia. Ambrosia getting an excellent double pick there with their crab tank there, stopping that push at the 72 mark. That first checkpoint hasn't even been scratched, Toma. I mean, they got there. The dot is there, but the timer hasn't even started ticking down yet. And now Storm Cells is going to be the ones on this tower, but Les right away is going to Kraken on that tower to try to push the members off, but they are not going to let that deter them much. But once again, now OU Crimson Nitro unfortunately having to retreat off of that tower, but now Storm Cells is going to be the ones on the respawn here to try to get this tower back in a 2 versus 2 situation. OU Crimson having the bubble on the tower once again, and now we are at this first checkpoint. We are getting that timer ticking down, Toma.
Yep, we do, but there's 3 members on the tower. They need to move forward, Saf, to support their teammates coming in. Nitro here on this slosher. This can be dangerous here as that approaches the tower. That's a great spot to defend from that slosher, doing a great job just picking members. A 2 versus 2 situation now as this tower begins to retreat. The Tetras, of course, not really able to do anything at the moment against this Expo who's going to outrange them and kind of shoot and poke at them from a safe distance. You've got the tower moving once again, and the Kraken is out, Saf. The Kraken is over here. It sees this Tri-Slosher is going to do what it can to try to get them, but no, Nitro is going to shut that down. That is now just the Tetras online for OU Crimson. Storm Cells are going to finally be able to make their first attempt here at this checkpoint number 1 as the members of OU Crimson on the respawn here are going to try to come out and stop it. You saw that roller on that ramp trying to poke out, but they can't really quite find the space right now. The Tetra, just as I said, drops down, gets 2 of them, Saf. Not in time for them to not clear that first checkpoint. They're going to be going through that right now as the members of Storm Cells are jumping back in. But look at this bloodbath around the tower. Saf, OU Storm Cells able to take the lead there, push it to 41. But that, Saf, is not a safe lead.
Yeah, absolutely not. 2 points is nothing to get too comfortable with, Toma. I mean, the fight that was just happening around that tower was insane. You had 3 different members of Storm Cells posted up on that tower, but then the Kraken coming in to displace all of them, I believe taking 1 or 2 of them out. But now, once again, we have OU Crimson trying to push this tower, but we're in a 2-down situation at this moment. B3 is going to go ahead and get comfortable with their Stamper on this tower, trying to fight with Kirby, and is successful in the fight. now with 3 members up on OU Crimson, trying to prevent this push from going any further right now, because they have a lot of points, or they have a lot of ground to make up with this tower being halfway across the map here, but also needing at least 3 points to try to get their lead back right now, Toma. But as we stand now, we are in a 3v3 situation. There is a jump in on the side of OU Crimson, and mid mostly in Crimson's control at this moment. They are trying to look for picks and trying to maintain a safe distance to get this tower moving.
Absolutely, and right now, OU Crimson just needs to kind of play that slow, steady game to make sure they get the picks before advancing. But Storm Cells getting the wipeout, you know, members of OU Crimson maybe in there just a little bit too long. And with 50 seconds left remaining, they have to play carefully. They have to play for their lives. They can't take too risky of engagements, because once your member is down, it's going to get really, really rough for you. And when you're the team who has to make that push, it's on you to stay alive here. And that bomb, Saf, going to get a vital pick there on to the members of OU Crimson. That's going to delay them further from coming back in. That's going to take away their points for special. But 2 down here, the 3 down here, stop on the side of Storm Cells. This is their chance. OU Crimson needs to take this opportunity. They need to move forward. You see that there's 2 members on this tower, 3 by it. They've got to get that space. You see Ambrosia, Nitro going to that really good spot on the side to defend the tower. The bubble, Saf, and the tri-strikes coming out. The Kraken on the tower gets bumped off. And that's going to be Storm Cells securing this set 5-2, Saf.
Oh my gosh, Toma. I mean, you could see what they were cooking. You could see it clear as day from that overhead view, what they were cooking. I mean, they were on that tower. They had the bubble ready to go for trying to protect themselves. And then they had 2 members of Storm Cells just storming the tower to try to get them off of here. We're going to see it in the replay right now. This is an excellent replay here, folks. Tanner, right there, you can see popping this bubble as soon as they're about to round this corner here. They're going to pop this bubble as soon as they die. You have Shadow Kirby on the tower right now, popping the tri-strikes. They are taken down. Ambrosia takes them down before the tri-strike is able to take them, and then Ambrosia on the tower, but you have Les jumping up onto that tower, trying to save it with the Kraken, but unfortunately, with 2 members of Storm Cells being there, they are able to knock them off, and so the Kraken cannot withstand being knocked off by 2 different weapons. And wow, Storm Cells coming back and taking this win. Congratulations to them. Taking a team that was undefeated coming into this week, Toma. I mean, that has got to feel good if you were on Storm Cells.
Absolutely, Saf. It 100% has to feel amazing. They put up such an excellent fight there going into this, and Saf, like game after game, you saw that they took that really strong first lead in clam hits, and then you could see the momentum change. OU Crimson in that second game completely coming out a different team. But game 4, that's where Storm Cells, they locked it down, and they're like, nope, we're not letting this set go any further. And just game after game after game, they took that home.
I will say, throughout that entire set, like, all of the matches went all the way through the 5-minute mark. You know, we played for about an hour and got through, 7 games? Just based on how long it took for all the coordination to get through. But yeah, both of these teams did very well. But hey, we still have one more set that is going to be happening tonight, and it's going to be University of North Carolina Barracuda versus the University of Wisconsin. It's another, I forget the last W. I don't have it handy. It's UWW. Saf, do you happen to know it by chance?
Yeah, I do. UWW, Whitewater, Wisconsin. University of Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Whitewater. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. That's going to be happening in just about 2 minutes. We're going to update some overlays, take a sip of water here, and get these players situated. So you guys don't go anywhere. We have one more set coming for you tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to CCA. We have a Division 3 semifinals coming up. UNCG, University of North Carolina. What's the city? Shoot. Greensboro, I think. Barracuda, thank you. Versus University of Washington, or Wisconsin Whitewater. I can't get my words today. You know what? I'm just gonna let Saf and Toma talk for this one because apparently my mouth is done working. So Saf, tell us more about this Barracuda team.
Yeah, Falco, Barracuda is a returning team actually on this season of CCA. They were the Division 5 winners of CCA Season 2. So they are not unfamiliar with this CCA format here. And their season has been looking pretty good this year. I mean, they went 4-3 against Kraken Cove, 4-3 against Daybreak in week 2. They had a blunder with 2-4 going against Tiger Shark, but then they were able to bring it back the next 2 weeks, going 4-2 against Comet Task Force and going 4-3 against KSU Wild Sharks. So Barracuda is definitely not unfamiliar with the CCA format, and I'm pretty sure they're probably here to fight and take another win into the semifinals tonight. But Toma, UWW White, like what's going on with University of Whitewater?
Yeah, University of Whitewater, Wisconsin, they were second in Group A this season, going 3-2 there. They took a 1-4 against Nightfall their first week, and 3-4 against Scarlet Scrimblers their second week. You know, starting that season with the early 2 down, but not giving up, and then going 4-0 against Griffin, 4-2 against GM Patriots, and 4-0 against Deep Sea Miners. They wrapped up their season really strong, which is what earned them their pass here into the playoffs for this division.
I'm excited for both of these teams. It seems like both teams are very strong this season, Toma. I mean, and once again, we are just taking it all the way back. We're doing a little bit of a reset. We're taking it all the way back to Clam Blitz on Flounder Heights. I mean, as we know and as we saw with the last games between the two teams that we got to watch earlier, I mean, bringing the aggression and bringing the power on a map like this, and especially with the amount of flanking power each team could possibly have going into this one, I mean, there's a lot of momentum, and I feel like a lot of marbles on the table here for both of these teams to try to win in these semifinals.
Oh, absolutely, Saf. And, you know, in the game one, it all starts here. This kind of sets the mood for the set, you know, and Clam Blitz on Flounder Heights, it can be a real nasty one, as we saw in that previous set. If you let a team just gain control of that top area, and if they're doing a great job watching their flanks and denying your entrances, it can potentially snowball, as they just have access to all those clams, have access to all the entry routes into your base. We're going to be loading in, seeing what they're bringing to the table. We see the machine, the roller coming out, machine, carbon on the other side, both, you know, the rollers, the sloshers.
Forge.
We've seen them on this map before. They do so well. We do see a little bit more shooters here. We got to see the Forge. We see a Splash and a Neo Splash. So this team not going completely non-shooter, but they've definitely got that nice power to them.
Yeah, I love seeing that there is a roller slosher combination happening on both sides, one being a carbon and one being the crack-on roller coming in here. I mean, the crack-on is just so strong for Clam Blitz. It's such a good contender for trying to lead your teammates into the basket, whether or not you have the power clam in your possession, or if your teammate following up has it in their possession as well. But right away, Toma, we're almost a minute into this game. We are in the neutral game at this moment. One member going down on White, UWW White right now. And as I say that, the Kraken once again coming in, trying to lead the charge to provide the space for Barracuda to try to get some clams into this basket. But White is able to shut it down pretty quickly. But a Booyah Bomb also coming in, and with the roller trying to be on the flank as well to get a couple picks. And you also have the Tri-Strike to follow up as well. But White is in a really good position to try to respond here. I mean, they are holding pretty tightly to try to prevent any sort of push forward, but Barracuda does have a power climb in their possession in the hands of the machine, and they're going to go ahead and throw it in there with the Re-Slider coming in too, taking out the Carbon Roller and also pushing Ellie into a 1v1 fight. And you have JP trying to follow up with a few more clams. Toma, we are down to the 59.
Absolutely, that Tetris there on the offense, on that Re-Slider coming in, comboing so well on their basket break, just forcing the members to scatter away from that basket. As you said, taking Ellie into that 1v1 fight, and eventually going down, but that's not the worst thing in the world for the Tetra to feed a little bit. If you can go in there, it can cause a distraction, it can create space for its team. That's its job as a skirmisher, done very well. And Barracuda gearing up again for another push. JP went in with that Kraken, gonna be breaking in there, throwing in another power clam, going to be clearing off that penalty off of their run and able to extend their lead just a little bit more. We're down to the 47 mark. They're able to throw one more in there, 44, to give themselves a little bit more time. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get back to this basket though, Saf, to be able to extend that any further. UWW White doing a great job picking up that pity, knowing they're going to get another one. Might as well take this one to contribute to our next push. They've got two online because of that. It looks like they did pick up the one that fell afterwards. And now they're up here on this area, kind of behind their up here, and they're going to be trying to get some forward pressure with that crab tank. But the Tetras doing an excellent job jumping in there, stopping it, and it looks like they're going to be losing this second power clam here. The Forge holding tightly to this one, but gonna be taken out by that Kraken roller. You can see they placed down a little sneaky beacon there to provide their team some more entry options. The strikes are going to come out on the ramp and clear that space for Barracuda to be able to dunk another power clam off. And this is what Barracuda keeps doing time and time again. You see them utilizing those specials so well to get into that basket, whether it be JP there on that Kraken to get a great jump in. You see the strikes clearing that ramp. They're using their specials to their advantage here so well.
Yeah, and I mean, they have a formula down, Toma. And like, as I was saying before, Barracuda is not unfamiliar to the CCA format and how CCA is supposed to go. They were the winners in Division 5 in this last season. And I mean, they are here to try to win it once again. And they have a power clam again in their possession. We are in a 3 versus 3 situation at the moment, but Barracuda is able to just keep on utilizing their pushes and their specials to keep themselves in this game right now, Toma, and to keep themselves alive on this map right now. I mean, 32 is quite a lead to have to come back from, and especially when the basket has popped multiple times for Barracuda at this moment. Traveler there trying to push Ellie into a 1v1 fight once again, but it looks like 3 members actually of Barracuda now trying to take this mid area with 3 members down on the side of White at this moment. The Kraken by JP is now being popped, and the Tri-Strikes coming out on this ramp area once again. Khan is going to move in and pop this basket once again with a little bit more follow-up, with Traveler coming in with that Reef Slider as well to try to clear some space and to move the members of White out of the way of that basket. But I think that push is once again going to be stopped at the 8 mark at this moment, but there is no pity clam in sight for the side of UWW White, so this first game going to Barracuda.
Yep, absolutely. You know, even if there had been a pity clam there, Saf, we saw in the set before this exactly the 8-0 score in overtime, and just how hard that is to come back from. So UNCG Barracuda there getting a clutch victory there. You can see right now those Reef Sliders going in that Tetras, they're gonna fall, but it delays it just a bit longer, allows them to add some more points to their score, and those points are what matters, Saf. That's what stops this basket from closing before they can get their pity clam to come out. The Booyah comes out just to, secure anybody who may try to go under that basket and pick up any pity that'd be forming, but it doesn't come out in time.
Yeah, and one thing too I want to note about that Booyah Bomb, Toma, I mean, you could also see that one of the members of UWW White had to move forward. like that Booyah Bomb came in, they knew it was coming in behind them, they could probably hear it getting thrown, and they knew that they had to move forward away from that basket up into that ramp area where that second checkpoint would be if we were playing tower control. I mean, they had to clear that space. They had to move out of the way. The Booyah Bomb was coming in. But I mean, the amount of clams that Barracuda had in their possession, I mean, secured them that win time and time again. They were hardly ever at the zero in their clam economy. And right now, looking into this live look in here, you have Old Bay Brigade and the Thunderbirds playing against each other. Old Bay Brigade, though, in a 4-0 right now, taking themselves into a match point. Toma, we're looking at Clam Blitz on Inkblot Art Academy in this game 5 at this moment. And I mean, wow, a lot of momentum coming out from Old Bay Brigade.
Wow, and Saf, do you see what I'm seeing? A cheeky little Clash Blaster coming out from Old Bay Brigade. Not a weapon you see often coming out. And it's gonna be slaying over there. It looks like getting some picks onto the Thunderbirds already. 3 down. They're set up in a great situation. They need to find their clams. It looks like they're going to be throwing over to their Explo here. The Explo finally able to put a power clam together. There's already a break there. It looks like from the Clash Blaster, who's going to provide the jump there, get the Trizuka onto the Thunderbird South. What are we seeing here?
I mean, it would seem that Old Bay Brigade was able to get a very early soft wipe into this game, and they are going to keep continuing getting that soft wipe going in right there. Man, that has to be an exciting game going on over on the SplatoonTourney 1 channel at this moment. On the CCA channel, excuse me, happening over there. But man, I mean, for us here, though, we're going into Mako Mart Splat Zones at this moment. And per our last game, we saw quite the matchup, and especially getting it down to like a 1-point difference, Toma, of the fight happening beforehand between OU Crimson and UF Storm Cells on this one. And I'm excited to see what we're going to have here between Barracuda and White coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be seeing just exactly what they're cooking. We see the E-Leader come out on the side of Barracuda, and oh my god, a blob coming out on the side of White. What are these? We're seeing some fun weapon choices tonight. We sure are, as they're going to be going out here for mid, trying to get the early contest of the zone, which is going to go to Barracuda as they're fighting around right here. The E-Leader set up on a great position on that stack. The blob sadly going down early as this Wiper now pushing up, trying to see what other trouble it can cause for White. Getting another great pick onto Ellie. They're gonna get a pick onto the machine as well. But while they're getting all those picks, they lose control of the zone. White able to paint that. The crab tank coming out from Barracuda trying to get it back. And it looks like this fight is going to still continue. White going to be able to hold on to that zone that they claimed from Barracuda and get more points on here, trying to get this lead change.
And I have not seen the blob quite yet, Toma. I can see those bubbles coming out in the corner there, but I have not really seen where the blob is able to position themselves. But White is able to flip this lead at this moment, and now we are on the blob alert perspective. They are able to take out the wave breaker successfully. You can see the crab tank now is trying to get a couple shots in there to not only cover the zone, but maybe displace a couple members. Traveler, though, on the Stamper and Wiper combo, able to just get pick after pick, and Ellie as well getting a double pick going on there on the side of Barracuda at this moment. But White is holding it down in this game right now, Toma. They are making their presence known on this map, and I am wondering, does the blob liver pick have anything to do with this at this moment? Because with those bubbles coming out, you really got to be watching for those ricochets coming on up and about. But now that the blob user has been taken down, the zone has been flipped back into Barracuda's favor. 3 members down on the side of UWW White at this moment, and both members going into the corner there and jumping out at the same time. Tomo, was going on in that corner area there.
No, but that sure gave me a little bit of a chuckle. I was like, oh my god, I just saw them drop it. I was like, oh, this leader for sure is gonna die here. And then they both jumped out, and I was like, okay, never mind, I guess. And right now, White's trying to contest this zone. Barracuda trying to hold strong on the Booyah Bomb, getting picks on there. There's 3 down on White at the moment. And you see that these picks just keep trading in fourth and back into fourth. 2 down on White now, though, is they're the ones needing to break back in here to stop Barracuda's push, who's eating through their penalty, able to start scoring again now. Saf, this is the do or die moment. You've got to break through. You don't want to let this game get away from you. The tri-strikes are coming out, and this is their opportunity to move with it. They're going to be converging here on Barracuda, getting some picks. That is the lead change, but they need to find this zone. The stamp is going to come in and extend that lead just a little bit further, but the blob, the rain, and the splash there, that's finally zone cap in favor of White. Once again, they need to start eating through this penalty to get their lead back, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. The tri-strikes coming out, but they're a little far in front of the zone. They're gonna have to jump back as the members of Barracuda try to reset and figure out their way back into the zone. The leader gets a good snipe, but it's not going to be enough to clear the path. You see Ellie over there in their bunker, forcing that E-leader to jump out. White still holding this zone. Ellie posted up here, ready for the leader's re-entry. Not going to allow them to do it, but back on the zone. While Ellie was there, their team goes down to Barracuda, who's going to be able to defend that zone, recap it, and now they're going to be trying to get through their penalty, see if they can work their way up. But White here, not ready to be out of it.
Yeah, I mean, Toma, Ellie being so far pushed up with that crab tank too, and that was a crucial pick that they were able to get earlier off of that stamp that Traveler had, because if Traveler had kept going on that zone, I mean, they would have kept it, and if they took Ellie out, I think that would have been the knockout. But with Ellie being able to get that pick, I really think it kept White in this game at this moment. And now, finally, the zone is going to flip into White's favor, but as soon as I say that, they almost got their penalty out of the way, but Barracuda once again is going to be taking this zone back into their favor, taking one member of White out at this moment, and they are still in mid crab tank. Ellie going up there, taking out the crab and waiting for the jump, but they were in the middle of 2 other players from Barracuda, but Barracuda now having 3 members down. We are going into overtime at this moment, Toma. They need just 14 seconds left in order to break their penalty points that they have, and then they just need 5 more ticks in order to tie up this game, and they are going to do it right here. They just have to hold tight.
They're able to bring that together. Soft. Gosh, so much back and forth there at the end of this match. We saw the zone flip between these 2 teams each time as they were getting so close to that penalty change, Soft, but White able to just barely hold on to it through the end. You saw excellent coordination out of their team there at the very end, utilizing their picks so well. Here you see, this is right where Barracuda flipped it back. That stamp came out, got the clutch play that they needed. Ellie here on the stack, going to go up here. They're gonna try to get a pick. You'll see in a minute on the crab tank, or actually no, sorry, this is from earlier in the match. Look at me not paying attention. That's the funny little leader jump out that happens on that. Gosh, but let's talk about
the exact same thing.
Yeah, gosh, so many of these moments play out in similar scenarios. But you know what I was trying to talk about there at the end, Ellie was able to move up there onto the stack, get a pick on the crab after it ended. The remaining members that were there that were getting the jumps in were forced to focus on Ellie, and that left the members of UWW White free to go in. Those blobs came out onto the stack. All the extra pressure was able to push them out. They tried to prop strikes on the side of Barracuda to save their zone, but they were picked after just 1 was thrown, and that was the game there, Saf. After that strike was down, it was smooth sailing for UWW White through the rest of their penalty.
Yeah, and one thing too, Toma, that I want to point out is that you really got to be careful from dying on the zone, because there was a couple of times where the members of Barracuda were up and they were trying to take out the members of White, but the members of White were killing them on the zone consistently, and you really got to be watching out for that. If you know that you are going to die, if you are maybe one shot, you got to be moving away from that zone, because it's like, if you know you're going to die, you got to get off of there, because as soon as you do, and that opposite color explodes onto the zone, it only benefits the opposing team to try to recap. And I think White was really successful in that manner, because Barracuda found themselves on the zone time and time again, getting splatted, and White was able to really lock it down in the moments that it really counted. It's so easy to get tied up in overtime and to feel the pressure and kind of lose your momentum, but White did not let that happen to them. And there's a lot of pressure and momentum going into this museum tower control game right now, Toma. I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen here, because both teams have brought really strong presence so far in both of these games.
Absolutely. In Sav, it's kind of like one of those situations, I think, where we saw in the first set as well. You had a Clam Blitz game where you had Barracuda push it all the way to 8. White had good presence in the match, but just wasn't able to find any basket breaks. And then you come out to the Mako Mart Clams game where you had all these trades of the zone. It was super close. It ended in overtime. It's almost like I'm watching the first set happen all over again. And if you remember here, this was where on our last set you got 2 wins in a row. You capitalized off of this momentum. It was where OU was able to win their second game, and that's really what UWW White wants to do here. They want to make sure that they're not just doing this ping pong back and forth of games where it's going to take them to a game 9 and they're going to feel all of that pressure. They want to try to take this set and start running with it now that they have this momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we were kind of saying in the last matchup between Crimson and Storm Cells, this second checkpoint, Toma, on this one is so crucial, because once you hit the second checkpoint, you are up into the enemy spawn. You are up into the enemy spawn, and then it can really snowball from there if you are not careful, or if you get the proper wipe going on. So you got to be really, really careful and really cautious of what's going on. Barracuda is once again going to be bringing out that E-leader, but you also still have the Bloblubbler on the side of White. You love to see it, Toma. I'm curious how this blob is going to be able to fit in here. Already you can see there's tons of bubbles going down into that mid section there. You have 2 members of Barracuda trying to lock down the mid area, but Derma is going to go ahead and take out 1 member on the side of Barracuda, and they're going to try to go ahead and push this tower with only 1 member down, and it does not work in their favor, because now White finds themselves in a 3-down situation.
Yeah, great pick there from the leader, getting them as they go immediately onto the tower. This is why this is a leader map, Saf. You've got these wide open sightlines. Leader can threaten most of it, but Ellie here on the side, do they know that Ellie is going to be coming? They've got all their focus forward there, and Ellie's finally making the approach from behind. It looks like Ellie may have been spotted out, takes out JP in it though, and that kind of ends the push of Barracuda, and they're going to be forced to back off as now White is gaining control of this mid ground. It's not completely in their color yet, but you do see a lot of purple coming out. You see the members of Barracuda right now a little bit stuck in their own plat as this first checkpoint is beginning to fall. There's 2 down as well on the side of Barracuda. They have to be careful not to let this game slip away from them there, especially now. This is the critical checkpoint too. Saf, JP is going to come in there, get a pick, try to get a pick onto the Blobblubber, but it's taken down by the Booyah Bomb. And this is where we see that really dangerous snowball potentially happening.
Yeah, DJ, oh my gosh, DJ, this blob player was so comfortable on this tower for so long, and they kept riding it and just going mostly uncontested. They were able to get so much poking damage off of JP. JP trying to come in for the flank, but the Booyah Bomb was able to finish the job. And now 2 members down on the side of Barracuda. That tower is still in favor of White at this moment, Toma. I mean, not only was it kind of moving backwards, but they were able to maintain that tower in this right corner on the side of Barracuda's spawn at this moment. But you can see that the E-Leader is in a good position to try to clear that right side. And now, absolutely, as we see it, 3 members of White are now currently down, and the tower is in possession of Barracuda. You can see JP just trying to run with it with this Kraken, trying to chase the members of White out of their spawning area, as they should be doing, and they are still trying to go for picks, and they take Quag out in the process, and they are trying to put some beacons down as well to maybe get some potential jump-ins for a later use. But you also still have this blob holding it down on this plat area here with the rain coming out, and now JP is finally stopped, but Barracuda is still going to make themselves known on this second checkpoint.
Yeah, JP's presence there was incredible, putting a lot of pressure on to White, but you saw they did a great job there defending that block, just throwing bomb after bomb, creating so much chip that, you know, JP couldn't have an opportunity to swim up. And then when that rain finally came out, all that little bit of chip damage from those bombs finally paid off. But here, White now set up in a really good position, 3 down onto the members of Barracuda, but they're gonna have to wait as this tower moves slowly towards the base of Barracuda. JP, of course, on this roller, doing a good job as ever defending for Barracuda. They're going to be picking up that Kraken, trying to get on tower. It looks like they're having a little bit of trouble trying to climb that wall to get on there. The members of White going to choose to just back up a little bit, respecting that Kraken so they don't go down. The tri-strikes come out, but it's answered very quickly by a Booyah Bomb. And JP is still here, putting in the hard work on the defense, able to stop that tower before that 3rd checkpoint falls. 30 seconds left in this match, but right now you see White just still doing a really good job holding their presence forward. 2 still down on the side of Barracuda. You're kind of just seeing this little bit delay stagger happening as they're able to get slow pick after pick after pick and just pick new members as the old ones respawn. But now 2 down on White. It looks like this push may be over here. This is going to give time for Barracuda to get back in this staff. This is going to let them get mid control, but they're only gonna have 1 shot at it. These tri-strikes coming out maybe a little bit too early, popping them before they've really gotten the chance to push past mid. The Kraken too. Staff, are they going to have enough fire left in the tank to be able to run this here? Going through all of their specials, you see them forward, JP trying to do what they can, but they're 2 down in this situation. Bagel and Gummy here. Bagel's got the bubble. This could be good, but all this fire on the tower, and they accidentally jump in the fight, and that's going to be White defense of the tower, and that's going to be the game for White. Saf. Wow, how close.
You know, Toma, even though that White won at this one, for me, the player of the game was JP. Respectfully, JP was a little bit of a rat through this game because they stayed alive in scenarios that they should not have stayed alive in. They were crawling up walls. They were crackening at the right time. They were trying to hold on to this tower. You can see in the replay here, JP getting hit by these blob bubblers. But, I mean, they were taken out here, but man, Bagel and Gummy trying to hold it down here, using that bubble to their advantage, and especially also having Khan being able to jump into that tower. But as soon as Khan was taken out, Bagel did not have any ground to stand on to try to hold on there to keep that tower moving. But man, JP being able to be in so many different places, and just the members of White could not take them out. It was a struggle for them to try to take them out. I mean, White's still coming out on top. Don't get me wrong. It was well played and well deserved by White, but they got to be watching out for JP and the movements that JP is bringing into this next game.
Oh, they absolutely do, Saf. As you said, JP just being a little bit of a rat that game. Staying alive, doing a really good job getting pick after pick. They were absolutely vital to Barracuda's defense. They stopped what could have easily turned into a knockout on the side of White. And that is something to be commended. You know, sometimes the scores don't tell the whole story. You got the 2-1, but you know, and that's just always, that's going to be 1 point for White that Barracuda can never get back. But that defense, these plays that came out were so impressive still.
Yeah, the firepower and the aggression that Barracuda has is definitely present. It is there, and I think White was definitely having some problems. Like, they were having a little bit of a struggle. Like, they did not take this win easily, Toma. I'll say that. This win did not come easily. It was deserved, but it did not come easy for them. And now we're going into this Rainmaker game on Scorch Gorge, and I mean, are we going to be seeing this same aggressive comp? Is that E-Leader still going to remain for the side of Barracuda? Or are we going to maybe drop that and opt for something different here? I mean, who's to say? Who's to say? Because both teams have really brought their A game here. But I mean, White right now, Toma, having so much momentum, having won 2 games in a row. I mean, and can they go for the 3rd and win it again?
Yeah, that's the question here. And, you know, it's always a little bit of a toss-up when you go to, like, a map like Scorch Gorge Rainmaker, what you're going to see there, because it is a map that can be really good for these backlines. If you've got a leader, you've got a splatling that can stand up there and defend, but at the same time, Saf, it's a Rainmaker. And it's one of those modes where you have to really take fast plays. You've got to move that Rainmaker yourself. It's not going to tick along for you. So sometimes teams will opt to drop those backlines, even though it's a good map for them, just to move a little bit faster. And that seems to be the case here with Barracuda. They're going to be dropping that leader, trying to go for a little bit of a faster comp as we go into this game. And that could definitely be what makes the difference. And, you know, like I said before, right now, being in the 1-2 situation, Barracuda taking game 1, and then White coming back so strong in these next 2 games, I feel like I'm watching this first set all over again, and Barracuda making this change could give them the opportunity they need to take this game, and that would be putting us still just straight along the same playbook as set 1.
Yeah, I'm smiling and shaking my head right now, Toma, because DJ is still here with this blob. We have seen them now in 3 different game modes and maps with this blob coming out, and it is still working for them on the side of White at this moment. Now we are in a 3 versus 3 situation. You have 1 member each down on both sides, and we're still in the neutral game. The Rainmaker has been popped, but nobody seems to have been able to pick it up. But now, finally, we see that White is feeling pretty comfortable and confident, especially now with 2 members down. This is their moment to try to gain a little bit of ground, but it would seem that Gummy was in a really good position to try to respond, and Traveler was able to also respond with them as well. That Rain, though, coming out, being able to take Gummy out. Now, finally, White is going to go ahead and make this first checkpoint pop. And there's still 2 members of Barracuda going down. And now with the Tri-Strikes coming out here, Toma, it's as you said, this is the hold forward game on the side of White. But now with them having 2 members down as well, 3 members down, 1 of them on the respawn, you have Quag and Ellie trying to hold it down here. Quag is going to try to make the run for it, but stopping them at the 39.
Absolutely. And Saf, like you said, the hold forward moment coming out there, they saw the paint underneath their feet. They were like, this is the chance. This is all we're going to be able to get this time. And they just trudged it forward as much as they can. 39, definitely not a bad start to a push. But now Barracuda going to have the opportunity to respawn here. And they're going to be already pretty far forward here. You've got Traveler there on that Wiper doing a good job, as always, going to find this first checkpoint here. Now they need to be able to follow up on it, though. The Crab Tank is out, but do they know Ellie is back here? They do know that Ellie is back there. They're able to find the pick on Ellie. You see the Kraken coming out. The Tri-Strikes are going to delay the Rainmaker from being picked up, but You see that? Oh my god, actually, it's going to be White that picks up the Rainmaker, able to hop it off for a little bit of a cheeky reset, and it's going to force Barracuda to have to back up here to be able to continue that push. That was a great reset right there.
Yeah, that was definitely crucial, I think, for them preventing any forward momentum that Barracuda might have had. White definitely taking a little bit of a hit there doing the reset, but it was definitely exactly what they needed because it seemed like Barracuda was in a good position to try to move that Rainmaker forward. But now as it stands, White is going to go ahead and pop this Rainmaker at this moment with one member of Barracuda going down and the Booyah Bomb coming out as well. And as you can see, the Blob also has that Rain in their possession. 3 members down now on the side of Barracuda, but once again, you have JP waiting for the Shark and waiting for the members of White to try to move past them, and they are able to get an excellent double pick while popping Kraken as well and putting down a couple beacons afterwards as well, just to try to get maybe a couple of their teammates to jump in and help them out in the fight. Barracuda once again going to be able to pick up this Rainmaker. You have Traveler also trying to defend and maybe body block a little bit for this Rainmaker, but you also have the Sloshing Machine and you have DJ posting up, but they are both taken out together by the Stamper play as well. And you have Ellie on the Crab Tank trying to prevent this pop from going any further, and the Tri-Strikes defending the Rainmaker as it is popped out of possession, but Gummy is going to pick it up and take it to the 43 mark. Barracuda only has a few more points to make up, and there is 50 seconds left in this game.
Soph, yes, and right here, they just need to be able to get this pop and take it a little bit further. They're going to pick it up, but they get stuck on that cushion, and there is the lead change, Soph. As the full wipe happens, they're able to claim the lead just by 3 points. Now it's all on White to respond. They've got to pick that up. They've got to make it moving. And with 30 seconds left in the game, Soph, this is going to be an intense one. Right now, one already down as they picked up the Rainmaker, dropped into mid, maybe a little bit early, didn't have the team members in front of it to support them. That's going to be the full wipe on the White, and now it's just Barracuda left up. They've got this Rainmaker sitting here. They're just going to watch it. What is White going to do? Are they going to drop down into the dam? Gets 2 of them, and they pick up that Rainmaker, and they run away. That's going to be game. This is Barracuda clutching that up, Saf. Oh, my lord, what an impressive ending to that. And they're going to take it to 2-2, just like we've seen happen. This is just, wow, Saf. It's outstanding.
I'm laughing so hard, Traveler. That stamp throw at the end. Oh my gosh. You could tell that the members of White were trying so hard to break back into this map. They knew exactly where the Rainmaker was going to be. You can see in this replay here, this is where the fight to the bitter end happened. Ellie posted up top, taking JP out, but you still have Traveler and Bagel and Gummy there trying to break it through. Traveler trying to act as a body block, and Gummy kind of getting stuck behind that pillow initially. It was a little scary there. I gotta admit, it was a little scary being stuck behind that pillow, but Gummy was able to pull it out and take the lead. And I just, again, Traveler with that double stamp kill at the end there. Like, what?
I was so worried there, Steph. On that pillow, I was like, oh my god, that is not where you want to be if you're just running, because it's so easy, Steph, in the panic of the moment just to hold forward, and you're just going into a pillow. You're not doing anything. You're not moving forward. You're not extending their lead, but they had the presence of mind. They were able to move it around, take the lead there. And like you said, that double stamp throw on the top of it, that's just to top it off, the little cherry on top. They knew they had the game. All they had to do was camp the Rainmaker, so why not get a double hammer clip while they're at it? That's god. Oh my god, Sam.
It always comes down in Scorch Rainmaker. It always comes down to that pit area every single time. As soon as you pop that first checkpoint, it's a matter of what is going to happen in this pit area, and you could see it happening in this game. I mean, Gummy picked it up. They were stuck behind that pillow. They were trying to move past. Traveler pulled out the stamp. There was a couple people backing up away from that stamp, and they were like, you know what? I'm going to full send it, and we're just going to see what happens. And it worked out in their favor, and then I think that they had the Rainmaker at the end in a good position to defend. So, I mean, just well played. And once again, Toma, it's like you and I always say, what's happening in that voice chat? What's happening in that VC right now, especially with a huge firefight going on and a close combat fight like that happening? I mean, what is happening? What are the members saying to each other in order for them to push this lead further? But my goodness, we got to put this game to rest because we are going in to Ink Black Clam Blitz, and Barracuda, as you can see at the bottom, won our Clam Blitz game the first time. So what are they going to bring to the table again, and can they win it out again? We're going to go ahead and find out right here.
Yeah, Saf, we're gonna see if this here turns into the true repeat of set 1. This is where the runaway finally started to happen. And this is all pressure on these two teams to pick up a win here. They need to be bringing this closer and closer to winning this set that's tied up. Currently, you see the double T-Tech actually coming out on the side of white, gonna give them a lot of options and pressure onto the plot. You know, you've got a Booyah, you've got 2 Tri-Strikes, you've got a Crab Tank, all options that are just going to force your opponent to move. But you can't really use those if you're down. JP doing a great job, as always, getting those sharks, getting great picks, and then getting a pick as well, the machine onto that T-Tech afterwards as the scrap in middle continues. You know, like we say all the time, Saf, this is just a big game of team deathmatch. Till you can find those clams, you can find the right picks to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And Traveler going in up on that ramp area there with that stamp, but moving a little bit of space. I think the members of White are a little bit afraid of Traveler's stamp, Toma, after seeing that double pick in that last game. I think they're a little bit concerned. JP able to pop this Kraken to try to give themselves a little bit more wiggle room and space, and they're able to get another pick off of DJ there, but the Booyah Bomb coming in, taking out Gummy in the process, and JP kind of caught with their pants down there, with the Kraken ending in the middle of 2 different players on the side of White at this moment. But 65 is going to be the push mark right now for the initial opening for Barracuda at this moment, and there's still 3.5 minutes left in this game. There's plenty of time for things to change and for the tides to shift. And at this moment, White has the clam economy in their favor at this moment, and they do have Pity Clam in their possession as well. But from this perspective right now, we're going to see Traveler coming back out into this mid area with their stamp. They're putting a lot of ink down at this moment, Toma. I mean, White has not really broken out into this mid section quite yet at this moment, because Barracuda is providing a lot of aggression, as we can see JP getting 1 pick, going for the 2nd pick on Ellie, but Ellie providing a lot of pressure, but JP is going to go ahead and yeet themselves out of the map at this moment, because if they were to die right there, it could have been a really crucial thing for them. But now we can see on the side of Barracuda, we do have that Booyah Bomb ready and in possession. We do have enough clams to make a power clam, but it looks like the fight is just happening in mid at this moment.
Absolutely, and right now you see them back here trying to clear out the clam, going in, and they're able to pick it off at just the right moment. The Booyah Bomb gonna come in, trying to cover that entry option for Traveler. They're gonna be able to pick it up. They're gonna be able to dunk it in, Saf, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to follow up on that. And JP over here on the shark, and is taken out there. A excellent pick there by this T-Tech, seeing them out, not letting them out, and you know, that's a great pick to get regardless. I don't think those clams are going to connect to the basket in time, but the last place you want, JP, is up in your bats, and that was a excellent choice to be able to remove them right there.
Yeah, you've really got to be watching out for bats in this one, Toma. I mean, it's the same with tower control. It's the same here with Clam Blitz. You got to be very careful, because if you let a flank go into bats, and especially if you can have the jump ins to bats as well, it can be all over. But there we go. We had a clam being thrown in onto that platform. Quag having 7 clams in their possession. They were able to get the pop for White, but now with White having 3 members down, and they're gonna let that power clam go, you only have Bench left on the middle of the map here with their T-Tech. They're trying to put down a little bit more ink coverage, just kind of waiting for their teammates to respond. But unfortunately, White is not going to have too much of an initial push here right now. And now, too, with Barracuda having at least that Kraken online, and now the Booyah and the Tri-Strike online as well. The Tri-Strike coming out to clear some space, and the Kraken coming from around the corner. I don't think whoever that was expecting that to happen. But now you can see that Barracuda is going to change the tides at this moment with the clam economy. But as I say that, 2 members go down. It is a struggle to try to get out into this map and to get something going right now, Toma.
It absolutely is the struggle, but look at this. So never mind. Commentator's curse right there. Just as I thought something was coming together, it's so quickly shut down. They're going to be rushing over here trying to see if they can pick up this clam. They get it just in time. They're going to take a jump, but look, they jumped to someone who was taken out, and there's 3 members of Barracuda there waiting for them on that jump. Quag not going to be able to contest that themselves, but as I say that, the power clam is picked up. Just the fight after fight happening here. The booyah going out onto this power clam. This power clam has stayed alive for far longer than it should have, and it's making its way to the basket. No, it is not. I'm a liar. That is their own basket. I got so freaked out there for a second. I was like, there's no way, but there's a jump. There's a jump. They actually make its way to the basket. Saf! That's insane! They took the lead there! They broke it! They took the lead! What in the world, Seth?
We were totally reversed, Toma. We didn't know where Ellie was jumping. We thought Ellie was jumping out of the map, but no, it turns out Ellie was jumping to a teammate that was by the basket, and that pop gave White the advantage that they needed and gave them the lead right at the end, and White is going to take this game 5! My goodness, Toma, what is going on? Please, can you tell me? Yes, we do have this replay. We're going into overtime. You can see White has that power clamp in their possession. Traveler waiting for Quag to jump down. Ellie trying to push Traveler into a fight, but they are a little bit worried about it. They see the jump happening over on the other side. They were able to jump to Bench. Bench was able to post up on that platform waiting, and I bet you in that VC, they were like, jump to me, jump to me, jump to me. This is the time. I mean...
Stop. I'm just going crazy. Well, first of all, I saw Ellie retreat up to their own plat, but in my head, I was like, no, that's Barracuda's plat. So I was like, wow, Ellie's about to get it here. But then I'm like, wait, that basket's the same colors as theirs. That's not right. And I was like, oh, dang. I was like, there went their chance. I was like, that's not good for White. And I'm like, and I'm seeing this Viper and Traveler going there, and that's a scary place to be in. That Viper applies so much pressure, and I see the jump. I'm like, okay, maybe the jump is gonna get baited. It might give the power clam just a little bit extra time, and then all of a sudden it goes skyward, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so much to process.
No, we really thought that Ellie was going back to spawn, and I was like, okay, that's a safe jump. I mean, yes, they have the power clam, but that's safe. They're gonna stay alive. They're gonna keep this clam alive. No, Bench was there. They were there, they were ready, and they were like, send it, come on over, there's nobody here, you have an open opportunity to pop this basket, and it's exactly what they needed. White was able to clutch it out right in the end. Oh my goodness.
They absolutely, that has to be one of the most clutch endings to a Clam Blitz game that I have seen, Sap. And it embodies the ideals of Splatoon 3, the chaos of it all. Clam Blitz can be such a chaotic mode, and that was quite a way to wrap up that game.
I know, and now too, we're going into a Splat Zones game, and White showed their dominance in the last Splat Zones game that we had earlier, and we're going into Brine Water Springs. Their dominance was shown on Mako Mart Splat Zones, but now with Brine Water, I mean, there is a lot of potential here and a lot of momentum coming out from White, but I also think that Barracuda is still a force to be reckoned with. They are not allowing these wins to come easy to them right now. I mean, these are intense matches that we've been watching, Toma, and I mean, that last one really did come down to the wire. It came down to that last initial jump to get that basket break, and I'm sure we're gonna see that happen once again here in Brine Waters. So, I mean, what's gonna happen next? What are we gonna bring out? Is the Blob Lover gonna stay?
Gosh, you never know in these games, Stop. But both of these teams have really been showing us how they made it through their groups into this playoffs. Because, wow, I'm just being blown away by the gameplay. And Brine Water Springs Splat Zones, such a small map. This zone can be so easily contested. I'm really interested to see what both of these teams are going to be bringing out to try to keep their hopes here alive. You know, this is going to be a vital match here right now because it's either going to be Barracuda tying the set up again at 3-3, or it's going to be White pushing the set to match point. And, you know, either of those outcomes has pretty big implications for the way that the rest of this set is going to play out. Of course, we saw in the last Splat Zones game on Mako Mart, White was able to take the win there, but that game was so back and forth, and they only were able to take it back in that really clutch overtime play, Saf. So right now, if you are Barracuda, you got to remember, hey, how did this Zones game play out? We've got to learn from that first set, make sure we don't make that same mistake again. We can't let them take this game from us in overtime.
Yeah, and a big thing too, Toma, is you cannot let yourselves get locked out, and especially if you're Barracuda in this moment, trying to prevent White from going to match point. You need to prevent yourselves from getting locked out on brine water, because that is such an easy thing to do, and it's such an easy thing for it to happen and for it to snowball so quickly. You need to be able to watch what's going on and to be present in that moment when stuff may be going sideways. But as we can see here, we actually have Traveler bringing out the brush, and once again you have DJ still on that blob, and you also have Khan going back onto that E-leader pick, which I think giving themselves the range, Barracuda needing the range here, I think is going to be crucial, especially because I do believe that that blob is probably not going to make themselves known in mid too much unless they can really feel like that they are comfortable and they are able to get a good lockout on Barracuda. But right from the beginning, it looks like Barracuda is actually the ones feeling pretty comfortable going into this mid area right now. I mean, Khan is already pushed up with that E-leader into that mid area, but as soon as I say that, you can see that DJ still is throwing a bunch of bubbles down into mid, trying to get that zone recaptured. But two members down on the side of White. They are on the respawn at the moment right now, but Barracuda is still not going to let that neutral zone discourage them or take them down. They are going to recapture it and throw a wave breaker out to make sure that they can maintain their space. We are already down to 50 points. Last ditch effort is going to be coming in possession here quickly, Toma.
Yes, it sure is. And now this is going to give White the opportunity that they need to push forward. That Booyah Bomb actually caught out on that pole. A little bit unfortunate, a lost pressure onto their ramp there. And now it's Traveler on this brush, going to be zipping in, seeing if they can try to connect with the blob lobber there, see if they can find a pick. They are as they fly out, able to find the pick onto the blob. We've seen so many clutch Zipcaster plays tonight, Saf. That's going to be a great bit of a stall as the fight happens over here in that drop as well. Barracuda now able to extend their lead. They're going to be counting through actual points now, but the Tri-Strike's coming out, going to be trying to stop this zone. That's going to be the cap back to White.
Yeah, and I loved that Tri-Strike play there coming from White, Toma, because not only did you have at least one or two on the zone, but you had some going behind the zone as well, causing the members of Barracuda having to move backwards. Once again, now White is going to take the zone into their possession. They still have two members down on the respawn here, and you also have Gummy into this zone area right now with their crab tank as well, providing a lot of pressure. Bagel able to get a little bit of chip damage onto Ellie, and they're going to go in and finish the job there. White now taking the zone back into possession. Once again, you have Khan being able to move up with the E-leader, maybe trying to look for a pick or two, trying to move some members off of the zone. And once again, Toma, like I was saying in our last zones game, you need to be watching out if you are close to dying on the zone. You need to be very careful, and especially on this zone in brine water here, it is so small. So any death on the zone is absolutely crucial to the next cap that is going to happen. But right now, Barracuda is still in the lead here, and they are ticking away on this penalty right now. The Tri-Strike coming out in the bottom of the ramp area. It looks like the members of White are a little bit afraid to push up, but you also have Quag being able to throw in that Booyah Bomb to the back zone area, and they are able to flip possession just momentarily. But I believe this Ink Storm, yes, absolutely, is going to provide them a little bit of follow-up.
Absolutely, but already that brush, that's actually going to be the full wipe on to white. Now Barracuda set up again to try to go forward. They need to be able to push this ramp. It seems like they're playing a little bit more of the conservative game, not wanting to go too far, and you can see that maybe paying off here as the Brush is able to come back here, try to fight Ellie, who's going in from the side. You actually see two here. Ellie's gonna jump out, realizing that they're not in the best scenario right there, and now white able to regain control again. White, we've seen, doing a good job at being able to kind of get in here and flip the zone. Been struggling a little bit on the hold, though, as Traveler comes back in here, gets another excellent pick, and that's the whole thing. Right now, I think we're seeing Barracuda win these kind of group scraps and fights, and because of that, they're holding on to that zone where white has a really good kind of taking power. They're able to get in, cap that zone really fast, but when it comes back down to the fight, they're getting forced off zone by Barracuda, and Barracuda right now about to eat through that final penalty, and here we are doing exactly what I said. Again, white gonna come in here and try to earn this cap. Ellie there on the crab tank trying to find the picks, but going down. Actually, they're still fighting for this zone here though, and that's gonna be the zone going to white. And as the members of Barracuda respawn, they're going to be preparing for the fight again, and now you cannot afford to lose the fight if you're white. You've got to hold on through this upcoming overtime, and right now Barracuda coming from many angles, dummy up here, getting this off angle on to the zone, getting a pick there, but also going down. You have to make sure, like you said, not to die on the zone, and that's 2 dead for Barracuda. This may be the same thing we saw in that Mako Mart game, Saf. The members of white pushed up. The E-leader needs to find these picks. They need to move fast. Right now, as this timer ticks over, that's going to be white taking it to match point. This is, oh my gosh, Saf. The Barracuda held this zone for so strong throughout this entire game. They were winning these group fights, these scraps going on, but white getting the picks when they matter the most.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Toma, when Bagel was coming out of the spawn area for Barracuda with those tri-strikes, I mean, it looked like they were being shot at. I think you can see it right here, Bagel dying right there. Look at where these strikes positions were landing. They were not landing on the zone. You still had the wave breaker there to try to clear some space and to move some members out of the way. But if those tri-strikes, I think, landed on the zone, it would have ended overtime right then and there. But unfortunately, there was so much pressure on Bagel happening in that moment that Bagel was unable to really throw those strikes into the way of the zone. It seemed like that they were maybe more so trying to clear the space around the zone initially before actually going for the zone itself. And I think that that was maybe the detriment there for the game for Barracuda. But you could still see that Traveler was trying to come back in and follow up. They were able to take one pick and cover their half of the zone, and they were trying to go up to the middle box area and get the other half. But it was just too little too late because that ink storm was coming in, and it still provided so much coverage for white. But yeah, absolutely, Barracuda had their presence known throughout that game, and white just came in and they took full advantage of when they could.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said there, Saf. Even if that tri-strike hadn't capped the zone itself there, I think it would have been able at least to put it into a neutral position for just long enough for Traveler to be able to come there and with that added ink be able to find that cap. But that's, in the moment, it can be so hard when you've got someone rushing you down, you've got those strikes up, and you're in overtime. That just all the decisions you have to make within a split second, they're the decisions that make or break games, but they're also the ones that are hardest to make under pressure because there's so much on the line here, Saf. And now they're going to be feeling that pressure even more going into tower control, Hagglefish Market, where once again brought to a game or match point here as UWW White has 4 up on this set. They just need to be able to take one more game to be able to close out this set, but Barracuda is definitely not out of this yet.
Yeah, and I think too, especially here, Toma, I think White needs to be watching out for their flanks if they want to win this set fully, because I mean, you still have JP on that roller and they are an excellent flanker, and this map provides so much flanking to be had for the side of Barracuda. So they really need to be watching out for JP, I think, on this one, and they need to be watching out, I think, for this blob leveler as well, because I mean, the blob that we were seeing on the side of white was just absolutely killing it. They've been dominating through these matches. I mean, they've been providing so much ink coverage, and just the amount of rain that they have been throwing down for the poking damage and the tick damage that they've been getting on the members of Barracuda has been so crucial. And I think they are using the members of white are utilizing the Inkstorm exactly how it should be utilized. They are catching the members of Barracuda in the middle of it, and they are taking the rest of the damage for themselves and going for the kills, and which is exactly how Inkstorm should be utilized. So I think Barracuda needs to be pretty cautious of that if they are going to keep running this blob against them. They need to be watching that, but also I think white needs to be really, see, there we go, we have Traveler and JP on the wiper and the roller. They need to be very cautious of these flanks that are going to be coming out here, but I do think having the double tri-strike here for the side of white is going to be very beneficial. They are going to be able to maintain a lot of space for themselves, and they are not going to let the members of Barracuda take this tower very easily.
No, absolutely not. We've seen time and time again both of these teams giving the other team a run for their money, but right now it's going to be white taking that early little bit of a delayed wipe on to Barracuda as they're charging forward towards this first checkpoint. These double strikes definitely going to be doing a good job in tandem with the rain to be able to clear the space, and the blob lobber actually, I think, a really good choice here to provide pressure underneath that ledge, and that's going to be another wipe on to Barracuda. Saf, this could be very, very dangerous here. This is kind of the point of the map that gets really, really snowbally, and you've got to be careful. The members of Barracuda trying to find a way to break back in. The strikes coming out left and right. The Booyah Bomb coming out, 2 down on both sides. JP going to be putting up the defense here, but it's just Gummy left up. Gummy picks Quag, but this third checkpoint has fallen, Saf, and that's going to be UWW White clearing the game here, going 0-100 to win their 5th game in this set, and they'll be advancing to the Division 3 Grand Finals.
Yeah, wow. I mean, the amount of momentum that white had going into this final game was immense, Toma. I mean, they were ready for it. They came out swinging in this one, and I mean, the members of Barracuda were just kind of caught off guard there going into that one. I mean, well played by them. Here we go on this replay. You can see Bagel trying to come in and provide a little bit more coverage here. You had Traveler pulling out that Stamper, taking out Bench in the process, but it just wasn't quite enough because the Booyah Bomb provided so much damage there. JP getting one member off the tower, trying to turn around and take Ellie out in the process with them. Gummy almost going down in the trade with Quag, able to take Quag out. Quag, I think it was an excellent play by them being able to jump up and take the fight with them and preventing any further damage from the Tower Rider as well. So, I mean, wow, just well played by white, UWW White. Congratulations for moving forward, and GG's to Barracuda as well. I mean, holy smokes, they have done such a great job into this tournament, and they have made it quite far into this round of CCA, and I commend them. I really do, Toma. I mean, both teams brought their A game and brought the fight this evening, and white coming out on top.
Absolutely. I can't express enough how much the 2-5 on the scoreboard doesn't tell the complete story. Barracuda having amazing, beautiful, dominant moments in this set, but sometimes all it comes down to is that one push, the overtime victory that happens. You know, it doesn't tell everything that you get to see here, and Barracuda showed tonight that they made it here to semifinals for a reason, but UWW White able to edge that out. They're going to be advancing to grand finals, like you said, giving it their best shot here to take home the championship for Division 3. Congratulations to both of these teams.
Was such a fun set to watch, and I mean, just throughout, I think we had so many key moments throughout the entire set that happened where we're just like mind blown with everything that had happened. Like Saf, you pointed out when we saw the blob for the first time, which is something you don't really see very often in competitive Splatoon, especially at this level, and just the amazing things that University of Wisconsin Whitewater were able to do. It has been absolutely incredible. So such a fun set. Once again, congratulations to UW UWW White for moving on. Barracuda, such a fun team to root on. We had so much fun this season. And with that, that is going to be it for our broadcast tonight on SplatoonTourney here. So once again, thank you so much to the CCA crew. Special shoutouts to DRF and Mizuno for letting us cast these sets. I'm going to let our commentators plug themselves. So Saf, I'll start with you. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Cephalopod. That's 2 P's, 2 A's. At Cephalopod on Twitter, or in about less than a month, you can find me at Low Tide City with these two in just less than a month.
You stole my segue. I was gonna say, Sam, who else could you see at Low Tide City? And then point to the person on there on your right. Toma, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me at Twitter at Crest of Gautier, or here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Toma_. And just like Saf pointed out, you can find me on LTC on the mic with these lovely 2 people here. Falco, where can we find you?
You can find me, Falco Flyer, and Falco Flyer 11 on Twitter. I do stream pretty often. I'm the person who directed and ran this entire stream, so thank you so much for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. Next Thursday, I will be commentating some of the Ink TV Invitational that will be going on. It will be very fantastic. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight. So we just got word that UWW White are going to face Nightfall next weekend. And of course, all of the Div finals will be broadcast on Saturday and Sunday. So be sure to follow CCA Splatoon as well. And we're going to give them a shout out. I got to type that real fast. Okay. I hate being on the spot for this, but that was my fault for not being, prepared for that. So yes, we had a wonderful raid from CCA Splatoon, so please go follow them. We will be live again next week for some more CCA action as well. So thank you so much for tuning in tonight, everybody. We greatly appreciate it. And make sure you follow SplatoonTourney here on Twitch and subscribe to SplatoonTourney on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter at SplatoonTourney and join our Discord too. And once again, my name is Falco Flyer. I streamed and directed this broadcast, so thank you so much. We very much appreciate it. And we will see you next week for some CCA finals. So have a fantastic evening, everybody, and take care.